Pedro from A&P-Reacts. I'm here today with the whole gang, Seven Kingdoms. Everybody's in the house to talk about Zenith, out June 17th. How are you all doing?
Good. We're doing
good.
I think
well. It's the second time I've seen the boys in 2 months.
He's been gone for 2 months. So.
Reunited once again.
And it feels so
good. And for reunited for a good reason. I mean, a new record coming out. I'm sure you guys are excited. Are you a little bit nervous?
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe a tiny bit, you know, just because you never know what people are going to think sometimes, and but for the most part, I would say more excited than anything else. So
yeah, I mean, I'm at this point, I kind of, if I like it and I like what we put out, I don't even really care. Yeah, at this point in time, I mean, I hope somebody hates it actually. You know what I mean? Because then they're gonna talk. They're gonna have the longest review. You know what I mean? Just like
it's interesting to see
like that. So you're always gonna win people and you're always gonna lose people every record. You know what I mean? And the more you do it, the more that becomes just every day.
Yeah. I'm getting a feeling like you have a little bit of the P. Diddy syndrome, which is no press is bad press. As long as people are talking about you, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, kind of in a way. You know, it's just. I mean, some of the biggest bands in the world are the most hated bands in the world. You know,
it worked for not striving to be.
Not
I mean, I prefer people to like us, but you can't win them all.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So when it comes to Zenith, what was the main goal for you guys? What did you guys want to achieve? What was that box that you guys wanted to tick with this specific record?
I mean, just put out our best work to date.
Well, so I mean,
and coming right after the napalm stuff.
Yeah, on a sheet. The Empty Eyes EP, actually, the way that we do our Kickstarters and stuff like that, those were supposed to be, we're actually planning to do a second EP and then combining the two EPs into Zenith, but we pushed the album forward because we were able to do all the touring that we did in the last 3 months. You know what I mean? Or the last 3 tours, the last year, basically.
It did feel like 3 months,
the 2 rounds with Unleashed and then the Beast in Black thing. So we wanted to push the record sooner so that way we could not, I guess capitalize is the wrong thing, but like literally on the moment to be able to put a new release out, boom. You know what I mean?
It felt right to tour on a record.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then like we had just done the Unleashed Archer stuff, so a lot of those people had heard it. So we had a couple new songs on the Beast in Black tour from this one. So essentially, we were originally going to record just another record. And then like when we did the Empty Eyes thing, and then basically that turned out to be what it was with all the stuff that happened with the label and stuff like that. And that's us going back indie essentially until now. So we were, a band like us, if you dump a record and we don't have it pushed by multiple people like our deal now, people eat it and then it's digested. You know what I mean? So we were doing EPs because most of the shows we were going to do, even now, we're going to have 30 to 45 minutes. You know what I mean? There's so like we get more out of releasing less songs essentially, and we can do it more often. And even still, like now, that's kind of how it is, but we have a record, you know what I mean? And I'm not sure if we would do another EP after this, or if we would just do another record. Like that's something we'll have to decide. But at the moment, the EPs and stuff worked, and that was essentially when we did the Empty Eyes thing, people got to kill one of the songs off of Empty Eyes that didn't make the cut for the record, because then there would be too many old songs on it essentially. But then that gave the Empty Eyes pressing its own little flair, because that's the only place you'll get Monster at this point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
it's
something
just
exclusive still on the EP.
And Barracuda.
And Barracuda. So like that's all pressed on the EP. And like we're doing a lot of vinyl now. So like we're kind of looking not necessarily at it as a CD, but how it looks on a vinyl packaging. You know what I mean? Like it was cool because we didn't have we have a 7-inch, a 10-inch, and 12-inch record. So we have the whole span of the old school stuff. You know what I mean? So like that's why we did the Go Rodeo thing in the middle of all that COVID stuff, because we have a 7-inch 45. It's sick. It's splatter, like, you know what I mean? So
It was something fun to do and just
Yeah.
have in our possession.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of the stuff we think about how it looks on vinyl now. So, you know, and basically what we're just getting at is like the MTI's thing was the beginning of Zenith, essentially. You know, it was the kind of stroke that we were going to use to paint the new record, essentially. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this, because I felt like listening to Zenith, the songs from MTI's, while blending in nicely with the new tracks, you could kind of feel like there is some slight differences from them. Did you guys start? So I'm assuming you didn't start working on these new tracks at the same time. Like these were a sequence of the work that started with MTI's. Is that correct?
Yeah.
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 So, yeah. So I mean, basically, it was just remastered.
Yeah, we were recorded at a different time too.
Yeah,
so we're probably
Complete, like we were doing completely different amps. It was a completely different. Well, it was a completely different drum set,
that's true.
but still,
different
like yeah, it was just
studio.
different.
So that
different
stuff was it was probably 2 years before we actually recorded
Yeah.
the new Zenith. So yeah, there's a little bit of a time discrepancy there. But
Yeah.
but for the most part, we felt like those songs still kind of like resonated with the new material we were
And we
working on.
released MPIs to be on the next record. So it's
Yeah.
like- so I kind of like the differences. I mean, we got them mastered to be the same quality, but you know, they should be shown that they were done in different periods of time.
Yeah, it definitely, there's a little bit of an, it's hard to point the finger at what makes them pop out. I mean, maybe because I heard both. So, you know, I'm coming from a place where I already knew those songs coming in. So maybe that plays a role as well in your subconscious mind, that they feel different automatically because of that. But I felt like there was something that was hard to put my finger on. So when it came to the track listing, what was your thought process in how, okay, so how do we include these tracks that we already released into the new tracks to make the whole album have a nice fluidity to it?
Well, we wanted to make sure that regardless of what each song was written about, that they felt like they were going in kind of like, you know how like medleys have a path. So the album, when you listen to it from the the very first song to the end, there's a story, there's progression in that way. And if you're listening to it outwardly without knowing context, you can apply it to any spectrum of situation that you're going through. But like certain songs Kevin wrote that were about like life situations. We have a music baby called Chasing the Mirage, where I wrote a story and he wrote a story and they became a thing. But like Camden writes his songs mostly with the alien influence. And then Love Dagger and Magic in the Mist for me this time were inspired by a book series called From Blood and Ash.
Oh, really interesting, man. Like it's really nice to talk to you guys about this, because when I listen to the record, you end up with a lot of questions in your mind on how all of these pieces came together, and now you guys are kind of bringing it all into the fold. When you're thinking of a new record, of new songs, do you try to create something that maybe takes you a little bit out of your comfort zone so that you can achieve growth with new tracks, with new music, with a new album?
I would say, sometimes I don't think we really, usually we'll just like, something will just happen. We'll just be playing something and something will just kind of come to be. I don't think sometimes we really actively think about like, maybe for me, at least for guitar solos, like I'll try to have parts like I want to try to push myself, But as far as a song goes, I think it all just comes naturally.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's complicated, sometimes it's simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think that we basically just kind of write what we like.
Yeah,
and we're
feeling.
yeah, and if it's good, it's good. You know what I mean? It's just like we listen to all kinds of music. Yeah, but we listen to all kinds of music. You know what I mean? So
especially
like
in the last few years.
yeah, as we get older, like it's changed.
And we're also growing together, so we're kind of
But I mean, I think that there's a sound that we all have when we're together writing music that has become more of a sound as the albums progress. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think now, like when you hear a song, like, and you're kind of familiar with who we are, you could be like, oh, that's Seven Kingdoms, if I don't know what that song is. But that's them. Is that them? You know what I mean? That's gotta be them. You know what I mean? That's that's something I wanted,
Yeah, we're trying
when
to
we
keep
put
that.
when we put the record together too, like the MTI songs were used, and for me personally, like when I listened to it all the way through, like it's funny because Magic in the Mist the three of us would call our slowest power metal song ever.
In the
Just
realm of power
in
metal.
the realm of power metal, because it's like at 144 or something like that. Kind of just, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of Eagle Heart slow Stradivarius, like the slow Stradivarius vibe.
Yeah.
But like if you listen to it after you listen to Empty Eyes, which is just that that 4 on the floor, it sounds like
It's blistering.
yeah, really fast.
And we had that conversation with
So-
Jim too about where to.
Yeah,
put
so
songs.
we were really experimenting a lot with different tempos, I guess, and then making like, so when we come in with a fast song, it feels like whoa, and learning how to essentially bait the listener from the song previous a little bit, into the next one. So we kind of look through that, and then like when we put the EP on, like we tried to picture it as if, because we know the songs how they sound when we play them. So like I guess we're kind of blind to what they sound like just being digested to the listener, you know what I mean? Because when we go rehearse, they all sound the same because we're playing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, as listening to it as the song, like if we were to like just pick up the record, how would they be placed kind of thing? I think that's how we did it.
And basically,
Yeah.
We tried to stop listening for a couple days and then listen as a
Yeah.
I mean, when we took that break in between the two tours from Unleash the Archers, I was happy for that break because I personally feel like when it came my turn to sing my part, I had tour under my belt and I had learning every night from Brittany.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted to do certain vocal things, but it's almost like, because you're a singer, you don't have a fretboard, you can't cheat, so you have to figure out how to do things. And I had to literally watch her sing to figure out how to do what we call the PMS, which is the power metal scream. So I'm happy that I had that space, because when I brought that knowledge and that practice into the album, it made me better.
Yeah, she was the last one to record essentially. So we had finished, the three of us had already like.
Well, Keith finished super early.
Yeah, it was like June.
We knocked the drums out before the UTA tour, and then like all the guitars were recorded right after that first UTA tour.
Oh, we did record the final ones, I guess.
Yeah,
that's right. We did it while we were doing
had
Twitch.
It for a while.
Yeah.
This was good.
That was
Especially
hilarious.
for your voice
It was-
and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like even crazy. Like it's just it's a sign of the time, because when we did the EP, like we didn't have the live rig that we have, like the in-ears and the digital amps and stuff like that. So we don't have cabs on stage anymore. Like so like the Marshall stacks are gone. You know what I mean? The whole like idea of like the wall of speakers is like not in our model anymore.
But that's
you know what I mean?
opened up so many possibilities.
Yeah, so it's just like it was crazy, because it's just like we were doing tracking on a Mac with our Axe effects that were the things that we're happy with. Like we like the sound, and it was on a USB straight into we did it in my gym. We did it while we were live on Twitch. Like
we
it's
recorded
like
a bunch of stuff live on Twitch.
Yeah,
This
that
is
was
the
fun.
first time. Like this, I would say, the recording process for this album was definitely the most unique experience we've ever had. Just being able to have fun and just.
Yeah, when we were mixing, we just had the portal.
We called it the fish cam.
The fish cam. Like we just turned the volume off and played like elevator music.
So no one can hear.
Yeah, so no one can hear it.
This was
But
like
then
the
we
Seven
would,
Kingdoms fish tank.
we would every so often we would just open up the mic on the camera and like give little sneak peeks. You can see, you hear him like the song's playing, they shut the guitars off, and you're listening to drums and bass, so you can listen to it. It's cool. And people are like, "Oh my god," for like 2 minutes, and then you shut it off, and they're like, "No."
You guys are unbelievable. When I went through this EP, through this full-length album and the EP before, the same vibe I got from both. You guys have great guitar players on the band, and I'm not saying that because you guys are here, but you really do, and you're able to create great guitar sound on this record, but doing it in such an understated kind of fashion. And the way it comes across is, I'm listening to it and I'm like, fuck, these guitars sound phenomenal. They're like incredible sound. They feel amazing. They have the right vibe. But at the same time, I don't feel like you guys are overshadowing all the other members in the band. Like you're doing, and that's what I mean by understated. You're doing such quality work guitar-wise on this record, but still giving everybody else room to shine. Like, what's up with that? Who does that? Nobody does that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like you gotta like kind of take the ego out a little bit, because it's like, you know, you can't be in the spotlight all the time because it's gonna take away from the overall picture.
It's gonna
you know?
take away from our bassist. Like, and we recorded bass on this one.
We're the
so,
bassists.
Yeah, we're the bass. So we also want that. Yeah.
It's bigger than ever.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, our egos are tiny.
Tiny little ones.
But-
so.
No, I'm kidding.
But no, it was, yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I think both of us have kind of given up hope on just being the craziest shredder in the world.
You gave up.
I'm trying to be the fastest or craziest
Yeah, yeah,
guitarist because I
No,
can't sit in my room for fucking 8 hours a day like some of these kids that you need to do to
Well,
get
see,
on the level.
I've also personally, I've always gravitated more towards the, you know, like I like technicality and guitar solos, but I like melodies, harmonies, something
Yeah.
that adds to the overall music. You know,
You gotta-
that to me is much more important.
Yeah, you got to be able to hum it. Like you want to be able to sing the guitars as well as the vocals. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And that's like you know the big like, oh, gotta harmonize this. Oh, gotta harmonize this. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah. So it's just like, so I mean, it's just try to just be as tasteful as possible. And then luckily, like working with Jim for so long, he's taught us the importance of just having a good vibrato, like on the neck. That's not, you know, like rushed or like just. I mean, I do stupid ones.
It's the
still,
same
but-
with vocals too.
But yeah, just to have a controlled,
Controlling.
really tasty guitar. And it doesn't have to be the flashiest thing, because he's a guitar player too. So like Jim shreds. You know what I mean? And like he just, you know, working with him for so long, he really, you know, he eggs us on in a way when we do it. So like I'm sure that's, you know, like even when I'm recording, I'm like, Jim will probably like it.
Always thinking about what Jim's
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you know
like
what I
you
mean?
know,
Like-
you know,
like,
you know
I
what
think-
you could do? You
I
could
think
just
he'll
try
like, you know,
a
he'll
little
just
bit
let's try a
harder.
little bit.
He'll be at the board and he'll just, yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, just, you know, just trying to not be like every other guitar player, I guess, by being that way.
Ooh.
Being different without trying to be different, so you can be different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something along those lines.
That
That
is the
sounds
best
like a-
statement
Sounds
ever.
like a date and all that other craziness. Like you could get a whole nother like interview about just that.
And moving from the guitars to the genre that you guys play, there's not a lot of bands on this side of the Atlantic doing what you guys are doing. I mean, Unleash the Archers are perhaps one of the few that really have been able to break through the wall that exists in terms of what people listen to in North America. You guys have similar quality that you can really break through that wall. What do you feel is missing to move you guys into that level?
Several support tours, and a couple more trips. Just support tours. Literally, it's just simply
Yeah.
going on
People
support
finding
tours
us,
with the right
being able
band.
to hear us.
If
And
we
like
could,
a decent push, you know what I mean, from, and which we're kind of getting now with Distortion, you know, but that's something we've lacked. We haven't had that we haven't had those right people push us, you know what I mean, the right way. We haven't had that.
like an actual team that believes in it and wants to push it for they have a long picture rather than like throw it against the wall, see if it sticks real quick. You know what I mean? So like I don't know if you know Maurizio well or not, but
Yeah.
like he's Unleashed Archer's manager. He manages Flesh God, Hard Impact. He does Windrose, all that other stuff. So like we're one of the first. He has a label now, Distortion, which is essentially all of the working components of Nuclear Blast USA and Napalm USA and you know, people, all of his contacts essentially that he uses with Cataclysm and his years in the industries. You know, he talks to everybody Unleashed Archers talks to. So essentially, you know, we have someone that believes in them, who will believe in us. You know what I mean, and what we do, because he was able to see what we did with the tour. You know what I mean, and everybody really enjoyed the band. We made
started.
yeah, he was a part of all of it, saw it, and was like, wow, like if we can just put this band on tour with the right band. Like I always say, it's like if we could support like Halloween here in the US on this or something like that size, and then go do that in Europe, like it just maybe one or two laps of those would really make a gigantic difference. Like, and you would see the like it would be like a rocket ship kind of thing. People would be like, they're blowing up for some reason, like all out of the blue. Like that's all it takes.
More than an issue with the audience is an issue with the music industry in terms of how you feel like the band has been perceived.
Well, no, just getting the opportunity to be on the correct supporting tour.
Or
And,
just
yeah.
opportunities in general.
Yeah, opportunities in general, like just breaking through the like inner, like there's like
breaking the glass ceiling.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's like an inner circle kind of in all of the industry.
But like music, there's always
Like-
another ceiling you gotta break.
Yeah, but like I mean, there's a really hard kind of like line, I guess, that you do have to break, especially in the U.S. as a growing band, and
Yeah, you
there's
just
not a
get
lot of
ignored
them
until
that do it. You know what I mean? Most bands that have broken it have members who have had opportunities in other big bands. I mean, absolutely not trying to squash those bands at all, but they have a member who was, featured in some other gigantic band. There's several of them, you know what I mean? And then they have their own bands, and it really helps their own band dramatically. I mean, because now they have their own
Because
fan
they
base.
have their own shows. under
So
their
so
brand.
we don't have that with us right now. We basically have just grinding for 10 years. What? No, 15
years.
15
maybe?
years. Yeah, I know, since 2007.
Right.
And just like trying to get the opportunity to be on tour, to play in front of people that would like the music. So it's just like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like Unleash the Archers, like the 2 rounds with them, like it was crazy. Like, so when we did the Beast in Black tour afterwards, and we played a lot of new markets that we've never played with Beast in Black, but the markets that we did play with Unleash the Archers, but on the Beast in Black, you could see that show up and then leave when we got done. And it was kind of like, we had our first moment of like, there were more people here. Like, for like, well, like, just because like, it was Striker, us in the US at least, and then Beast in Black. And like, there were definitely people that left after us. And it was just kind of like, oh shit, like we like stay, like please. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have all of our shirts and then they disappear in the audience for the headlining band. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I think what the UTA tour really did.
Yeah,
for
that's
us,
what I'm saying, like-
improved our stock dramatically.
yeah, it just,
Especially those huge crowds of people that are really enthusiastic about this specific type of music. It just the UTA tour, I think, just did more for us than anything. Both tours, anything.
yeah, really.
So
Like,
if something like that could happen again, that would
Yeah.
not be like the next.
UTA.
oh,
Europe,
she's already promised.
No, because the quality of the music, the quality of the material speaks for itself. So it's not a matter of that. I always felt like a band like you guys, I think it's almost two-folded. Yeah, you need those right opportunities, but then you also like the North American market, like power metal has never really, at least right now, is not like when you turn on liquid metal, you don't get Seven Kingdoms. I mean, you don't even get Unleash the Archers for that matter. You get like hardcore, and I'm not knocking hardcore, I'm not knocking metalcore, but that's kind of what the kids are listening these days. And I feel like a lot of bands like yourselves are perhaps on the wrong side of the Atlantic.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. But at the same time, I think like, especially with the new stuff, like Kevin and I actually like, we've all at some point lost a pretty dramatic ton of weight. And in that process, we discovered weightlifting and stuff. So like that, being in the gym in America, you know what I mean? Really kind of like, we listen to a lot heavier music now. And we tried to paint a little bit of Zenith with a little heavier riffing, you know what I mean? A little bit.
It shows.
Yeah, just because that's what we listen to on a daily basis. And like, kind of want something, if it'll energize us, in the gym, it'll energize you anywhere, essentially, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, I think that gives us a kind of a little bit of a unique sound that we're not afraid to put the heaviness in the power metal. You know what I mean? Like in an American style, like almost not really Corey, like, but like just, that
breakdown.
a breakdown. Like, it's like, we're not necessarily afraid to say that we have breakdowns in power metal. Someone's going, oh, you know what I mean? Somewhere in the world.
Well, we
is gonna
didn't
hate us
stand
for
there with a flag that says we only play power metal.
But yeah, but I think moving forward, you'll get a kind of a continuation of that like heavy power metal a little bit, and I think that's gonna set us apart a little bit in our brand of power metal versus the typical like European flair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you can't have power metal without power. So you definitely need, you definitely need that. You definitely need that. And I have to ask Sabrina about her vocals, because I thought your voice on this record was really outstanding in terms of how you allow the songs to move, not just up and down, but the songs move actually laterally. It's almost like there's two walls and they're kind of bouncing from wall to wall, and you'll help that movement that exists within the tracks with your voice. What part of your range are you most comfortable with?
So I like to call it the butter zone, but whatever key that I'm singing in Valencar, that's like the meat. That's where those
The
kind of
buttery meat.
songs I sing my best. Not only is because it's a ballad, but it's like for me that's a time in a place in my voice where I have the most control.
I totally get that. Actually, it's really interesting that you went there, because I felt like in some of those tracks is where you felt more organic. I'm not saying that it wasn't that you didn't sound good on the other songs, but it just felt so natural, like almost effortlessly in those kind of tracks. And it also brought the lyrics to life a little bit more, because it felt like everything was just happening so naturally. Do you work a lot on your vocals before recording a record? On your spare time when these guys are in the gym, like when did you put in your work?
That's also in the gym.
Yes, it's also in the gym. So one of the things that we've done for about 15 years is go to Winter Haven almost every weekend, and then they'll come up here. So we kind of go back and forth. Like, to us, practice is important because we all want to do our best, because that's what we want to do. So we put in a lot of time and effort right before a show, with each other and separately, so we can, because every time you practice, you get just a little bit better, And when for a vocalist and even a guitar player, if you're nervous, you'll hear it in the vibrato.
Oh, definitely.
So for me, like when I have to hold the water dance note, the really long one, or any long note that I do in any song, you have to be able to do it calm. Because if you don't, you mess up your breath, you mess up your note, it just doesn't sound good. And so like for me, I like to sing. It's an exercise, therefore we have to do it in the gym. But also because like now that we've started to do the Twitch arena, because Grant from Unleash the Archers was like, you guys got to get on Twitch.
Come on,
So
man.
we all like to do different things on one Twitch channel. But for me, I like to do the karaoke nights where I sing like songs that I've learned to sing over the years. Or
Yes, it's awesome. We got the gym's got like the green wall, so
Yeah.
like I can take and put anything I want behind her. So it's like she gets to do. During COVID and before we were able to tour, like before the Unleash the Archer tour, we were booking her live gigs at like the bar down there with a piano player, just to get her on stage and like what people are watching, you know what I mean? Just to like, because we hadn't done it in years at that point in time because of the pandemic and stuff. But basically we've been able to transfer that into a digital setting at home. So it's just like, oh, you need something? It's in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Bathroom break. You don't have to take the whole rig out there. You know what I mean? It's there in the gym. So yeah. So I mean, we just having that rig has really actually helped you too.
yeah, I feel like if the whole in-ear situation made me a better singer, because I'm a by-ear singer. If I can't hear pitch, there is no, like, I think I'm hitting it and I'm not. So if I can't hear it, so so it's the rig and the ability to practice and the
Yeah, because you can practice like you haven't ever been able to practice. Like we have all the tracks from the album, so like we can even
like karaoke for me.
yeah, we can like put our ears in and like
If
rehearse.
Keith's not here, we got the drums.
Yeah, we got the drum tracks, so like we can play and put the drummer in, and the three of us can rehearse at least the songs. And then if I'm not there or Kevin's not here, I actually have a session for just Sabrina and I that has you and then him, just without one side on me. You know what I mean? And then we can do a whole practice here.
We always find a way.
We always find a way. That's what I'm saying. Because like
Because
Winter
we
Haven,
have to.
it's like with I-4, like chances are it takes a minimum of an hour and a half or 2 hours to get back and forth to one another's house.
Sometimes
so like
3.
so we get like the weekend. You know what I mean? So like we really make it count, like when we're there. You know what I mean? To get it done. So we have to like when we're together, we have to like maximize the time.
Maximize our minutes.
Yeah, maximize our minutes.
I have one more question for you guys, and that is, with Blind Guardian releasing an album this fall, is that going to be the opportunity for you guys to hit the road again and support Blind Guardian on a North American run?
We did it already.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah,
But again.
but again, no. I mean,
I wish.
it's been brought up. Maurizio brought it up, and I know their manager really well. I know them well. I mean, we all do. But it's just it's a matter of if it'll work. I mean, I like to think that there's already been a couple emails out to several bands. There's a tour that I know about that we're just waiting on a confirmation for April and May next year. That was supposed to happen in October this year. But that's getting rebuilt essentially. But
going with Blind Guardian again, especially at this stage of our
yeah, it would be
life, it would be incredible.
Yeah.
yeah, because when we went the first time, we were just
It
babies.
is a busy baby.
We were basically a local band, so like we got thrown into the wolves, like essentially just torn up.
Grew up
left
by
for
the
scraps.
third show. We were figuring out how to play our
Yeah.
shit.
So it's like it would be actually like yes,
Incredible.
it would be great. Like like we would really be able to capitalize on that tour. Like
Hey, I'm rooting for you guys, and if there's a selling point, Cam, is maybe you can do tour manager as well, double duty, so that way
yeah,
and then if you have problems with the bus, you have the experience from the Hypocrisy tour, so like you can solve that a lot quicker.
we got to a point actually where I didn't have to do that on the Beast in Black tour, and honestly, it was complete bliss to like show up as the ignorant guitar player like at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon instead of noon. Like, where do we park? Like, and like knock like they had their TM who was wonderful, and I was just like hey does there just like water. Like just doing stuff that I usually answer the question for, and going into that like. Here's the address. We got to be there at this time.
And that's it.
And that's all I know. And so it was even interesting, I guess, for y'all to like, Camden doesn't have the answer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Camden
know.
doesn't know.
So now you're just like me, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, yeah.
Hold hands.
But it was actually like, it was really just. I mean, for me, it was kind of wonderful. But see, the problem though is I was already like. Working for the Hypocrisy stuff on the road with Beast in Black to get it ready. So like it wasn't I didn't get the full experience.
Yeah.
At some point I'm gonna get the full experience.
It's
So
coming. It's coming.
yeah.
It's coming on that Blind Guardian tour that I'm telling you about.
yeah, hopefully
That would be.
that'd be yeah, and it's funny because I've applied because I know them and I know their old TM who's retired. That's done them ever since they've been in North America, and I've been applying for that job for years. Like, so it's like if they take us somewhere, it's like, sorry, but like, I mean, I'll help. You know what I mean? But like, I wouldn't. I know what goes into their tours when they come over here, and I wouldn't necessarily want to take all of it on, and also play, and then drive, and then you know what I mean, and then just like it's just. They would need another person.
I mean, unless we did a bus
with
them.
Yeah, because I'm 100% sure they get their own thing.
I know, but
So it's just that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just knowing how they tour. That would be a crazy situation. I mean, the last one I just did was already like crazy because we had to I had to go immediately. Like we played the last show of Beast in Black. They dropped me off at the airport the next morning, and then didn't have a bus for the Brooklyn show.
Yeah. I remember that. It was crazy for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, dudes, thank you. And Dudette.
Yeah,
What?
I saw you in Toronto, right?
In Toronto, yeah. I saw you in Toronto. Yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah, I was just so happy because we still had the silver bus, I think, at that point
Yes,
in
you
time.
did. I think it was the second at that time.
Yeah, we didn't have power in it. So I was just happy that Toronto was kind of cold because the back didn't have AC. So and I remember that bus came with the batteries on fire. Yeah, like it was the whole inside smelled like sulfur really bad. And it's like, you walk Peter into this bus that shows up and he's just like, oh no. And it's a really nice bus, but it was just man, these the whole coach company is screwed. That's why I'm kind of glad, even though we should be on the road in October. There's so many tours out right now. Like all the tours are
being taken
the
care
buses and the tours are still suffering because the supply is too much and the demand is because there's too many tours going on. So people are going to miss what they're going to miss from now until the fall, and I hopefully in the spring, I've saved some money, you know what I mean, or something, you know what I mean, and we'll want to go see this tour. And also, I think the fans are going to become picky again where they spend their money, you know what I mean, especially if the volume of shows stays the way it is.
Yeah, it's already, we already see it now. It's already happening now. So I think if you guys can push it for the spring of next year, I think that's a smart move all around. To be honest with you, I think that's a smart move all around.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like just being a promoter too, like everything we knew about what a band is essentially worth is just completely up in the air. You know, it's like we've had bands that have sold out several times underneath of us. They come back to like half the people show up for no reason. You know what I mean? The show was amazing, and it's just the people just didn't show up. And then vice versa. Like we'll have a show like Archspire, a young band, just bam, you know, sold out in advance. Like it's like how.
I mean, people like what they like right now.
Yeah. So it's just
crazy.
it's just weird. Yeah, it's completely unpredictable.
Well, guys, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I love the record. I hope to see you guys in Toronto at some point in time soon. That Unleash the Archers tour got canceled before because of COVID, so I didn't get to see you guys in Toronto. But let's hope for the next run in the fall. And I'll be there. I'll support you guys. I'll buy a T-shirt and I'll high five everybody, and then and then I'll go nuts in the pits. So thank you very much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks.
Thank you.